Ed, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come here and to put up with me having mics that don't work properly. These bad boys are not working right and it's driving me nuts. But anyway, we've got plenty of them. We have plenty of them. So me and Ed are going to make this podcast work. Believe me, we're going to make this bad boy work. Anyway, thank you so much. Let's start again. Where were you born? How many kids in the family? Tell me about moms and pops and your transfer. Let's go for it.
Okay, once again, born in Albany, New York, upstate New York. Got a younger brother, 2 sisters and 2 stepsisters. My mom still lives in New York, and my father lives in West Virginia.
They separated. How old were you when they separated?
Oh, very young. I was very young.
So you don't remember it?
No, that I don't remember. Okay. But it was very young, and as for my mom, took on that mantle and raised 4 kids on her own, and I think did a heck of a job,
And your dad, but did you know, was your dad close with you always, even when he wasn't there?
And that's one thing I can say I was fortunate to have, and a lot of kids in the urban community don't have that although my father moved to Virginia, he still was in our lives.
So how did he stay in your life? How did he do it? By doing what?
It's, the birthdays, we made sure we had cards. Christmas, we made sure we had gifts. We had letters, we had phone calls. So
pictures, how did you get to see him?
Yes, every summer we would go to Virginia or he would come up to see us. So.
See, that's why you're the kind of father you are now. Because you have 1 son, right?
Yes, I have 2 sons actually.
You do?
Yes. I have an older son in the Navy in San Diego.
Is that right?
Oh yes.
So how old is he?
He's 25.
So 25. Wait, how old are you now?
I am 53.
Okay, so you're in your 20s when you had him. Okay,
yes,
I thought maybe you had him when you were 16 or
something.
Oh,
no.
I'm just right, so you, but they're both by different women? Or
no, same mother.
Same mother?
Yes.
Okay, but your youngest son has autism,
Yes,
right?
he has autism.
Right, but you've been taking care of him like a champ. Man, that's the one thing I have to say that I really admire about you.
I appreciate that.
All the faces, this is the first time we've ever really talked. No, I'm sorry. The last time when we were supposed to do the podcast before, we talked all day.
So that was the benefit, even though we couldn't do the podcast.
We couldn't, but that was really good because we got a chance to get to know each other better.
Yeah.
But you're the man that I thought you were, because I've always felt that any man that takes care of his child has a lot of character, honor, respect. He has all the things that I think when I was growing up, men were supposed to have. My father took care of me. He raised me. So I was really happy. Well, I mean, partially raised me, but he raised me in my teen ages. And he was always contactable. And I was really happy about that. But go on.
Yeah, I mean, my kids, man, they're my life. They're the reason why I get up and strive so hard. And I'm so proud of my oldest doing what he's doing in his life. And even if the military is not for him, I appreciate it. He gives me a call, lets me know, hey, I'm thinking about this. And I never tell him that you need to stay this path. I tell him you got to do what you believe in and what's right for you, but have a plan. And that's what I kind of talk to him about. I said, we talked about this. You got one life. So as you stated, why do something you don't like? And what the military is going to give you is that foundation to be able to take on any challenges in your future, but so you don't have to be afraid to take that next step. So I'm proud of what he's doing, and my youngest, man, he keeps me young. My son Jaquan, I just love it, man.
That's wonderful.
You see the pureness in his heart. He's 17. I've been raising him on my own about 6 years. And
so your wife, from what age did she not?
I retired from the Navy in 2014, and went back. I was on that Tsugi base,
right?
And I went back to the U.S. and I brought both my sons. My oldest son had joined the Navy out here, so he had to come back with me, and of course stay with me until he's able to go to boot camp and go out and do what he does. So my sister, man, she's one of my angels. I'm over here.
She's okay. So everyone's younger than you, of course.
Yes. She helped me a great deal. She was living in North Carolina.
Does she have a family of her own?
Oh yes, 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 yes.
How many kids does she have?
She has one daughter.
Okay.
You know, and they just really were my angels. You know, so while I'm here, I'm communicating back there, and I took a trip back home to North Carolina to try to get my bearings because I don't know the area. So she showed me around the areas. Here's a great place. She helped me. She did the research. There's a great school for your son, for Jaquan, and here's a safe area. I know you'll like. It's the suburban area, and oh, by the way, here's why it's good. You know, then I had to fly back to Japan and start the process of retiring and doing what I had to do and ensuring Jaquan finishes school right here in Japan. A lot of stress, a lot of challenge, and went to North Carolina, got back into school, finished up my bachelor's, and son went off to boot camp. Jaquan's doing great, and got the job offer to come back to Japan about a year and a half later.
That's what you were trying to do anyway?
Well, I was just applying for work. You know, at this point, I was, you know, I had already finished my associates while I was in the Navy, and had started my bachelor's, so I was halfway done before I retired. So after I got my bachelor's, I just went right to, I need to find a job, I need to find a job.
But so you didn't care where it was as long as you had a job? So you weren't particularly trying to get back here?
No, part of me was. I mean,
I understand.
You know, because I did 26 years in the Navy, and I would say about 16 of that's been in Japan. So, you know, when you're at a certain age, I think, let's say around 20 or so, you're still young, but you become an adult. Here's where you develop who you are, your personality, and how you view life, and how you treat others, and how you wish to be treated. Well, during that time, I lived in Japan most of the time. So how I developed was kind of here. So this was home to me. So when I left here, it felt like I was missing home, because when you do the math, I spent most of my life more here.
All your adult life was spent here?
Yes, than it wasn't back in the US. So a part of me wanted to come back. But the other part was, I need to find work to take care of my son. You know, school's over, and I was doing a lot of interviews. I mean, a lot of interviews, going to a lot of job fairs and talking to people, trying to get hired.
But your job in the military was what? What did you do while you were in the Navy?
Well, when I was in the Navy, I was a cryptologic technician administrative. So it's basically administration and special security to protect special sensitive information and DoD assets. Yes, yes. So that's what I did for 26 years in the Navy. Well, not the full 26, because the field that I was in, they disestablished it and moved me into another rating, which was more strictly administrative. But I still kept my hands in what I loved doing, and that was special security.
Right.
I loved doing the job.
So you got a master's degree?
Yes.
In what?
I have a master's degree in cybersecurity management.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and
I like the way you say it too. When you say I have a master's degree in cybersecurity management, you change automatically. Because I'm straight and I'm going to make sure that everything's secure.
I'm still surprised that I got it. So I'm like, oh my God, I really have this.
I can't tell you how long it took me to stop marching when I walked after I got out of the service. And the people were going, will you stop marching? I'm not marching, I'm just walking. You should get that stride going, you know.
And your language?
I was an honor guard, I couldn't stop.
Oh, you were?
I couldn't stop. I was an honor guard, I just could not stop it. But I thought I was walking normally. So no. You have a certain cadence and you keep on doing that. You did that. So you're what I used to call one of those brainy brothers.
Oh no! To be honest with you, I'm not a brain. I feel I'm not.
All right, yeah.
But here's my story.
Okay.
You're gonna.
All right.
So in school, and it's so funny. Me and my wife was talking about this on the way up. I said, I wasn't the brightest guy in school, not because I lacked intelligence. It just wasn't challenging. And when I challenged certain things, I was told to, know your place, sit down, typical stuff you get in the urban schools. And the only thing that connected to me was music. So everything else was difficult for me, but
reading took you to a whole nother area.
Yes.
But what were you reading? What kind of stuff were you reading?
Well, I love history. So I always challenged history. So that was my thing that always got me in trouble. So what you were teaching me in school, I found false. So I would question it, and I wouldn't just go by what the teacher's teaching me. I would go to the library. I would go research. Wow, this is more information. And I would bring that information back. Well, tell me about this. And I would get challenged on it. So when someone challenges you, they're not challenging you to be defensive. They want to seek knowledge. And if you are not going to give them that knowledge, then you hurt them. And then they lose interest. So maybe that's what happened with school.
I see
And
that.
you know, I moved to Virginia. I told you, to live with my father because I was
And you were how old? 11?
I would say about 13,
14 when you
14
went there?
years old.
And that's because mom had had enough of you.
Yeah, because I was
You
a
challenged her
hard
not just on history. You just challenging her, just
You know.
challenging her, and she said, "Okay,
You
I'm
know.
just getting too big too. So no, before I have to get rid of him, my
Yes.
first lovely child, she sent you off to daddy, and daddy
Yeah.
said, "Okay, here are the rules."
And that's where it got rough because you know you're raised by your mom, and moms was no joke. And we
Right.
come from a time where the community raised you.
That's right.
'Cause mom could be
Everybody.
at work,
That's right.
you goof up,
Miss Smith would let you know. Yeah,
she's going to get you
That's
first,
right, she sure
and then
would.
she's going to tell your mom
that's
while
right.
I had
And
to
mom
put
would
that
get
belt
you again.
on,
Right, exactly.
and you're going to get the wake up call.
That's
You
right.
know, so I come from that environment, but still I'm turning into a young teenager and got my chest out and said, okay, before I, like you said, I brought you into this world, I could
I
take
take
you out.
So before that happens, she
You need
said,
to go live with your
"Your
father.
Dad, yeah.
You know, so
Let him be the one that goes to jail for killing you.
so and then you know I go there, but I had that same attitude.
Okay.
I brought that New York attitude, urban attitude, to a suburban lifestyle. So here's dad with the rules. Hey, these are my rules. Follow them or else.
Right.
Of course, young teenager, I'm going to challenge that. You know, and
But you obviously didn't challenge him too much because you're still here.
oh, he had a story with that. He reminded me like he's
I'm
pops.
That's right. He said, you might think I'm your friend, but I'm your daddy first.
Yeah. And you think that, oh, you're an old guy, I can take you on.
Right, no.
Not
Shit,
the hard
go
way
ahead,
like
you find out,
that.
yeah.
You know,
Real quick.
you know, when kid, I studied a lot of martial arts when I was a kid, and my
Okay.
dad did too.
So
And I didn't know that.
That's
so,
right.
So I got a quick lesson on, wow, you're really good. I won't be
Is that-
bothering you
wow,
anymore, you
wow.
know. So, but at that point, you know, it gets to a point where the parent will challenge the child, will let the child know, like, and this happened to me, obey my rules or get out. You know, and I was 17 at the time.
With your father.
Yes.
Okay.
And I left. So it's not on him. I was homeless for about a year.
You actually left.
Yeah, I was a high
You
school
guys-
I dropped out of high school
Okay.
in the 12th grade, and I was homeless. You know, but that was all my fault.
What year was this? What year was it?
I
Do you
would
remember
say
the
it
year?
was 1988.
Okay.
Yeah, 87. Because about 87. Yeah, it was around 87.
You had no friends? Or
Well, I
nobody?
had friends, and they took great care of me. Every now and then, someone let me stay in their house, but I
Right.
can't stay there forever.
That's right.
You know, I'll give you a couple of days, and then you know, then there's that week of walking up and down the streets. You know, I tell people this is, you know, and they're shocked by it. You know, I said, man, at nighttime during the wintertime, I had a beat up old '71 Ford Torino.
Oh, so you
know?
had a car. You had transportation.
$500, take it as it is.
Got you,
You know,
got
if
you,
you're
okay.
lucky, it went on. It went
Right,
on.
right,
But
right.
that, you know, you're staying in that thing, but it's so cold. You have to get up and walk the streets
To keep
so your
yourself warm.
blood can still flow.
Right.
You know, and I was in that situation. But I always say I put me in that. I don't blame my parents.
You never tried to go back to your dad?
No, and that was that stubbornness.
Because you knew.
Yeah.
Well, dad wouldn't have let you back in anyway.
You know, I mean, I think he would have.
Maybe
but,
he would have.
Yeah, but it was me.
But you'd have to do
Yes,
his.
yes.
You'd have to be compliant to him
Yes.
from then on.
Yeah. But you know, then one day they were going back to New York to visit family, and I pretty much hopped a ride and went back to New York.
Who's that?
My father. You know.
And you said, Dad,
because
how'd
I was
you-
still in communication with him.
Okay.
It wasn't like, okay, I never want to see you again.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, he knew I
How
was
you
being
doing?
taken
You lied
care
to him,
of.
said, "I'm
Yes.
okay."
Yeah. And we went back to New York and went back to stay with my mom. And I didn't stay in New York long. That was where I'm telling you, you know, the benefit of going to Virginia. I saw a different world. And I was in Virginia for about, you know, a couple years, 3 years, 4 years. And I go back to New York and I'm like, yep, I don't belong here. You know, I'm doing jobs working at McDonald's, Burger King, and things like that. And I just felt like there's more to life than this. You know, there really is. You know, and when I tell you the story of my sister that helped me out with North Carolina, well, when she graduated high school, she joined the Marines.
So she's been in the service too.
Yes.
But she's your younger sister.
Yeah.
How many years difference between you? and
Only a
her?
couple years. So
But she joined before you did.
my stepsister, yes. So she joined right after high school.
Okay.
And so that motivated me. It's like, wow, she can do it, I can do it. But I didn't join the Marines, you know. So I joined the Navy, you know.
Right.
And and that happened when I went back to New York. It was funny. The thing that made me say, that's it, I'm leaving. I had a job as a security guard type, typical. You had no weapons or anything, no flashlight. So I'm coming out my mom's house, you know, and you got the brownstone and the steps. and my cousins and friends are out there, and I got the badge on, and these guys looked and jumped, and I'm like, yep, it's time to leave, because if I was a cop or something, that'd have been it, So I actually walked, and it was about 4 or 5 miles to the recruiting office.
From that time on?
Yes, I went straight to the recruiter and talked to all of them. Army tried to get me first, Marines, Air Force. I actually almost joined the Air Force, but the wait was too long.
Yeah,
that wait time, and the Navy guy was like, I can get you out of here tomorrow, because that was my attitude.
I get you, yeah.
I need to leave now while I'm motivated to do this, because if I stay too long,
I'm not going to do it.
Exactly. And the Navy recruiter was the only one, and when they sat down and discussed jobs and everything, it really enlightened me. So I never expected 26 years. I thought, what?
I'll do my couple of years.
Yeah,
get
do
out
my
of
couple
here,
of years, get out.
I'll do something else. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to do something.
Yeah. But, your life changes through each stage, and it's just, man, it was just beautiful.
That's right. So in the service the whole time, where did you travel? Your first base, they just San Diego, right? Isn't that your basic training?
I went to Great Lakes.
But you can go San Diego too.
Back then when I was in, they had the 3 bases, Great Lakes, San Diego, and Orlando.
In Orlando, okay.
Yes. But
for basic?
Yes.
Okay.
I was supposed to go to San Diego.
Right. Okay.
Here's the funny part with recruiters.
All right. You're right. They tell you one thing, and all of a sudden they say, oh, nope, San Diego's full.
Yeah.
And you got to go somewhere else.
So November through December into early January, I'm in Great Lakes.
Jeez.
The worst cold I ever felt in my life.
And the air coming through, knocking your ears off, freezing your ears.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I thought I could handle that from upstate. I can handle that. No. That's a different monster.
So you went there. You finished basic training. What was your first base?
So
your first ship?
My first school was in Meridian, Mississippi, because when I joined the Navy, I didn't have a job.
Okay.
So that another trickery some recruiters. Hey, you can join and don't get a specific job and do whatever you want. So I picked up the administrative field, which is called YN, and went to Mississippi, and my first duty station was Washington, D.C., where I worked at the Navy Annex, and that's where I cross-rated a year and a half later to the CTA community. So it was a blessing with that. I got to meet a lot of great leaders, young buck and everything, and second school was in Pensacola, where the cryptologic school is at, and my first, I would say, real official duty, Yokota Air Base.
My first
overseas
base was Yokota.
First overseas was Yokota.
But that was your first base, real base.
Well, I would say DC was, because I lived at Fort Myers and I worked at the Navy Annex.
But I thought you'd be in training. So
no, that was an actual job.
Oh, so you actually had a job. Okay, I got you.
School was in Mississippi.
I got you.
Then my first duty station was in Washington, D.C.
And then the next one after that?
Then I went to another school, which got me into the cryptologic technician administrative field.
So they gave you a job in between going to school?
Yes.
Okay.
So I tell you what, I can remember this like it was yesterday. And I still have this feeling. When that plane landed in Yokota Air Base and I went to my barracks room, I opened up the window and I just sat there taking it all in, inhaling, the air of Japan and the food smell. I love that yakitori smell or whatever festival you feel out the food out there. And I'm just like, wow, I can't believe I'm here.
Because you never imagined being on the other side of the planet.
Yeah. Because growing up, you're told,
Had you put in, did they give you a choice of places or they just said, okay?
I put in for the Philippines.
Harrison,
that's when we were there first.
You put in for so you put in for all of Asia?
Well, Philippines, I didn't put in for Japan. There was I forgot a couple of places for the States. And I was supposed to go to Clark Air Force Base, and then boom, the mountain.
You're right.
And,
wiped it out.
Okay, you're not going there. We're going to send you here to Japan, which, when I was a kid, I was into art too, drawing. I love Japan, like Godzilla and all the other stuff.
But you never thought about putting that down as a place?
No, I would never imagine I was going to come to some place like here. But they gave it to me and just amazed me.
You didn't leave?
No. Well, no, I did 4 years in Yokota. And then I went back to Washington, D.C. for my orders. And then we moved from D.C. to Fort Meade to work up on where NSA and all that is at. Then after that tour, I went to Hawaii. I did a stint there. From Hawaii to Yokosuka, was on a ship in Yokosuka. Then from Yokosuka to Misawa, did my stint in Misawa. And that's where the rate was, the field I was in, they were going to disestablish it. So my thinking is, okay, I need to do something that makes me stand out in front of everyone else. and also at the same time pay it forward, because I'm a strong believer in if opportunity was given to me, it's up to us to give opportunities to others. So I took on the job as a recruiter back in my old neighborhood. So I went back home, you know, and the whole reason.
What rank were you? Were you E what?
I was a chief, E7 then.
E7.
Yes. So
you look like a zebra going back home. And
yes. You know, and I got a big family, you know, so I got to, you know, I became part of board of directors for a charter school there. I was really active in the community.
Gotcha.
Speaking at all the high schools, elementary schools, just going into the community and, you know, just telling people like, look, you guys know me, I'm a knucklehead, and if I can do this, you know,
so
you guys
were you really good as a recruiter?
Yeah, I was really good. I loved it because I love talking, I love speaking, and I just love helping people. You know, they were just like me. You know, you're in a world where they're saying, and even if they don't say it, they kind of look at you that way, that you can only do this. Do not strive to be the doctor, the lawyer, or something that's challenging. You should go ahead and stick with being the janitor or anything like that. Go keep working at the fast food places. And I want to show these kids that, first of all, there's nothing wrong with working at a McDonald's because you're starting from the root. If you believe that, hey, one day I want to own a McDonald's, then you should work at McDonald's and learn every element to one day you can own your own, if that's your dream. But if you don't have that dream and you start believing what others are saying, that I'm only supposed to flip burgers. Here, let me show you that there's more to life than that. And I chose this road, it worked for me because of this. You know, it's up to you. You know, and I've, knock on wood, got a couple of kids in and I've seen their careers prosper. I think the best thing for me, I got 2 of my cousins in. I was a chief, E7, and one of my cousins is stationed here, and he's a chief. You know, and his brother's a first class who will make chief. You know, so you're talking about a proud moment, you know, and I just look back like, man, I just remember when you guys came in my office and, you know, wet behind the ears, and I'm talking to you about jobs and opportunities. Yeah.
That's
and
to sit back. Your father and mother must be so proud of you too.
Yeah, they told me.
They have to be.
I'm humble
because
you're
the first child for both of them, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you're the firstborn. Yes. I have an older sister that's from another.
From your father.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's because, like I said, how I felt, and I just felt like sometimes, man, why am I here? Yeah. Why me? You know, and I keep myself grounded by that. You know, I stay humble, and I'm just so lucky. I'm so blessed, and at the same time, I'm confident. So some might think, oh, he's conceited or thinks he's, you know, no, that's not it.
No.
I'm confident because of, you know, what I've done, and I'm the type of person that loves challenge.
So you spent your time in the service. When did you get married? While you were in the service?
Yes. My first tour in Dakota. So I was with my first wife, and
of course, because you're
yeah. So and back and forth with the life, you know, going, and that's why I said most of my time was here. Even when I would tell the Navy, like you said, you get to choose. I wanted to see Europe side of the house. Okay, I've already seen the Pacific. You know, it's beautiful. I love it. But let me see Spain or Italy or something. No,
didn't happen.
You know, like, yep, you're going back over here. Like it or get out. And I was enjoying the job, so okay, I'll take Japan again. I'm not going to complain.
Right.
You know, because it's home to me.
Right.
But I wish I could have seen the Europe side of the house. I look at it like, oh, maybe I was meant to come here. Mm-hmm. You know, because I've met so many great people.
And still are, right?
So, I mean, I tell it to you, I know, crazy, like I told you, I look up to you, you know. I look up to people that I see where I want to become. And I see that how you did things, you know, it's just amazing. It's just so much respect, you know, and coming from the same background, the military, you came over here and you weren't afraid to take that risk to the next step. You know, some people get complacent, and a lot of military do that too. They love the job and they get complacent, and they carry that complacency back to the civilian life after they're done with the military. And so I love seeing people that have that drive, you know, because that's what motivates me. So then I look in my own mirror at myself. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? I want that drive. I want to be where they're at, but follow my path. So maybe it was meant for me to come here. Because
go on.
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
Yeah, because that's why I've seen it all, you know, what I was looking for to help motivate me. Because you can't do it alone. There's always going to be influences in your life, whether the person knows it or not. They're mentors from afar. You know, you look towards people like, wow, that's amazing. I want to do that. That's where I see my vision of myself, you know, and maybe coming back here consistently allowed me that opportunity, you know. So that's why I say I'm always thankful, and till this day, even now, back now, I wake up every day, wow, I can't believe I'm here, you know.
Well, look, so anybody having a beautiful wife like you do, what do you expect, man? You turn over and look at her and go, wow, that's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about. Wow.
You gave me some brownie points, that's good.
That's what I'm talking about. He looks at her and goes, oh, wow. You just recently married,
yes,
right?
Yes, back in June, just recently married.
You're so happy he hasn't gotten a smile off his face yet. And I saw her and she just smiled as much too. I mean, through the mask. I said, let me see your face. She goes, yeah.
Yes, looking good. She's a savior, I tell you, man.
Looking good.
That's a wild moment too. So
that
you
is.
know, you know, so many years. It's more wild for me for my son, you know, because he's so happy. And,
I can see they were close. I can see that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of jealous of that, though.
Yeah, that happens.
I mean, it used to be me and him, and now I'm the third string. Yeah, I'm the third string now.
So, why are you here? So what are your plans for the future? What are you doing now? Because I know you've done a lot since you got out. What have you been doing since you got out of the service here?
Here, you know, of course, I worked for the civil service government, you know.
Were you doing, no, that's a recent job, isn't it?
Well, no, actually, when I came back to Japan in 2016, I picked up a job at Camp Zama at a command there as a security specialist.
Okay.
So basically, what I did for the Navy in uniform, now I'm doing as a civilian, but a whole lot more. You know?
Right. Okay.
And so I did that job for a few years and then applied for the command security manager position for NAF at Sugi and picked that job up, Naval Air Facility. So I've been here doing those jobs. Again, I don't even consider it a job. I love it. I love being a security specialist. I love the challenges of that.
But didn't you have a moment in there, because I remember I was looking at you on Facebook and you were worried about being able to stay here. So
Yes.
you obviously weren't working at that time.
No, I still had the job because that's a contract. You're not here forever. So when your contract's up.
That's what you, okay.
Yes. So
you didn't have anything to follow up on that, a contract.
Well, I didn't want to leave Japan.
Right,
yet.
I see what you're saying.
So I'm applying for other positions.
Got you.
You know, and that would probably take me back to the States. But
you didn't want to go back to the States?
Not yet. You know,
I
this was home. I wasn't ready. And the main thing was, like, for my son,
I
more
know,
so
you told
him
me,
than
right.
me.
You said so, yeah.
You know, he's gone through this school system. So my biggest happiness for him, you know, if it could happen, is for him to graduate here amongst his peers because they've been with him since elementary. Everyone knows him. So him being nonverbal doesn't mean he doesn't feel or knows what's going on. It'll be the proudest moment. The people will embrace, the people that have embraced him over the years will graduate with him. You know, it's something
you
that
can keep that camaraderie.
exactly, you know,
that's nice.
and that's all I want for him. So my fear was he's not going to get that opportunity, but I'm going to find work.
Right.
You know, but blessing, I applied and got to position and just been loving it ever since.
No, it's not just that work. I mean, I know that's not the only thing you do because you hooked me up with one of my best sax teachers, Harumo.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
And I mean, when I told her that you're the one that recommended, she was good. She said, "Okay, where do we meet?"
Yeah.
And she's a beautiful young lady too.
Yeah.
She said, "If Ed's good with you, I'm good with you." And she came, and we've been friends ever since. I even had her on the podcast. And at that time, you were at the American Club, and you're doing DJ. So you do DJing too.
Oh yes.
I mean, you're DJ renowned because I know the general manager of this facility speaks very highly of you.
Paul's a great guy.
He speaks very, very highly of you. Yeah. So I'm saying my man's getting it from all angles and stuff. You know, they say where there's smoke, there's fire, and I call good compliments smoke.
Yes.
You got a whole lot of smoke around you, man. So you are on fire.
I'm humbled by that, so I'm grateful. You know? But it's music. My family is musicians.
Really?
So before now my history with DJing goes back to my grandfather.
Okay.
You know, Pee Wee Harris in upstate New York, very famous. He was, I think, the first African American DJ to own his own radio show, and you know, and for upstate New York during his time, he was the reason why you would get James Brown and Earth, Wind and Fire, things like that, up to that element.
Okay.
So from him, I learned about music, and also through my father, who was also, and my uncle, radio DJs through my grandfather's company.
So he did that and along with the post office.
Well, this is when he was in New York.
Okay.
Then when he moved to Virginia, then he took
Virginia.
up the post office
Okay, I got
position. But for me, as I told you when I was in school, I wasn't good at, to me, I felt for myself, the only thing I was good at where people noticed me was music. You know, so young age, picked up the trumpet in school, learned how to play. From there, learned every other brass instrument. So pretty much a little prodigy.
Okay.
So I take music theory and what I've learned with music into DJing and entertainment, you know. And so before I left, when I retired, I was still DJing here, doing a lot of shows, and so that's where people knew me. So I left and came back and said, okay, I want to reinvent myself. Now I want to have a company, you know. DJ part, understand now I want the business side of this, but also the entertainment side. So when I do shows for them or anybody else, I build an actual program. So it's not just hiring me, hey, come play music. No, what's your vision? What are you looking at? And how can we ensure that the guests who will come will have an experience that makes them say, I can't wait till the next one. You know, and that's what I love doing. I love that challenge because you don't know if it's going to work until the day of the show.
Okay.
You have a vision and you work with a great team. And believe me, I couldn't have done it without a team. These guys and the support I get from my friends with this, if I build the concept, you know, you pray, you promote, and when people come, will they see the vision that I presented to them? And when that's a yes, oh my God, it's the greatest feeling ever. Just to sit back and watch them. You know, and one of the things I do, well, I do it at every show. When it's over, you know, my company name is Unity Through Music.
Okay.
And I have the big light, Unity Through Music. So I tell everybody, I want you to look in the sky. What do you see? The Unity Through Music. And I tell them, tonight, no one saw black, no one saw white, no one saw Hispanic, no one saw Asian. Everyone just had a good time. You saw each other as one. And that's what Unity Through Music is about. And I said, I have friends here that don't speak English. On a normal basis, they would be nervous to talk to you. But by playing that right song at the right time, that was that link to communication, they're out there smiling, laughing, and joking, and having a great time without speaking one tone of language. That's music, when you put it in a positive way.
That's beautiful.
You know, and that's why I love doing what I'm doing with the music, you know. And I'm so grateful that Nusano allows me to paint that picture here, you know, and our Tokyo family, that's what I call them, they're my family, and the American community that's on base or government workers, whatever, they have that opportunity to get together, you know, and whatever stereotypes that may be thought of, it ends right there. Because now I get to see it up front, the truth, you know, and that's what I love.
So what are your plans for the future?
Me?
Talk to me.
I want to continue this music thing. I'm into music production. I'll make my own music. I want to expand what I'm doing to a bigger platform. Mm-hmm. You know, and again, it's because the belief of unity. This world needs a lot more of that, you know, mm-hmm. especially with all the negative stuff's going on. Mm-hmm. And I have a format that I feel can reach people, you know, and I would love to expand on that, mm-hmm. you know, and I have friends, like a friend of mine, you know, a good friend of mine, I taught him how to DJ. He actually believes in this thing too, and he does the same thing. So if we can spread this out, you know, maybe that was my gift from God, not so much the music. The music is the tool. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But maybe my gift from God was, hey, we need you to unite people, you know, and here's the gift I'm giving you in order to do that. Here's your platform. I'm giving you the opportunity, but you have to go out there and make it happen, you know, and that's how I feel, you know, and I just want this to expand bigger and bigger and bigger. So many elements you can do with this thing, you know.
Tell me, okay, what are your ending words? How would you like to end this podcast?
Oh. I tell you what, for anybody, you know, and I like you mentioned before, sometimes we're not confident, sometimes we are. You know, believe in yourself. But in order to believe in yourself, you have to be honest with yourself. You know, if you're not doing it right, be honest. You know, there's a lot of questions that we may ask. I ask you a lot of questions. A lot of times, these are answers I already know, but I'm asking that question for reassurance. And people do that to me too. And I always tell people, man, that's a great question, but you're asking the wrong person. You know?
That's good, I like that.
Look in the mirror and ask that question again and be honest with the answer. that's what's going to show you the right path you should be on. And don't be afraid of it. It's going to be hard. But sitting around is also going to be hard, not moving forward. You're going to be successful at something. Either it's doing nothing or it's doing something.
My man.
You know, so it's up to us.
We're going to leave it at that. My man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man.
I really appreciate it.
No, it's an honor, man.
really
I mean,
appreciate it.
I'm just, thank you. It's lost of words, you know.
Thank you.
I still have a shy side of me, so.
I want to thank all of you for watching this podcast. Make sure you press like, subscribe, and never forget, it's all on loan. Keep reaching for the stars, and you're too blessed to be stressed.
There you go.